welcome to episode 27 of Tales from Midnight Dyery. My name is Gemma and I'm coming to you as always from my home in Kent, where I live with my husband, my two cats, my dog and my little boy Robin, who is now 8 months old. I just can't quite believe that time is going that fast. With that in mind, I can't quite believe that it is, where are we? 9th of July? May, June, July, 3 months since I last recorded a podcast. And actually that was the East Anglia vlog, so I don't think we've had a proper podcast for quite some time. There's lots for me to talk about and explain, so I just need to get comfortable. I'm going to start off by a caveat at the top. You could probably hear it in my voice. I'm actually not very well. It's not COVID. I have done now 10 COVID tests in the last 5 days, testing morning and evening. But my little boy has had a cold. He's passed it to me. And for me, it is manifesting as a complete loss of voice and horrendous hacking cough. So please do forgive if there are lots of jump edits. Okay, so why, when I've got a stinking cold, have I decided it's an appropriate time to sit and record? Simply put, because I've recorded so many times in the last few months, and I have not actually had time to edit or do anything like that. And things have just been a bit mad. I'll explain a little bit more about why later. So if you're new to the podcast, it's a great point actually to join the podcast, because I have no idea what we were talking about last time. Sometimes I'll go back and I'll watch previous episodes, which is always a bit weird and feels a bit megalomaniac, just so I can have some sort of continuity, but I'm just going to call this a fresh start. So yeah, it's like pre-EAYF, post-EAYF. Not quite pre-baby, post-baby. I did actually manage a few podcasts once Robin was born, when he was tiny. So yeah, so as I say, if you're a new viewer, welcome. It's going to possibly feel a little bit manic and a little bit disjointed today, because it's a long time since I've recorded a podcast. If you're a returning viewer, thanks again for putting up with my prolonged absence. One thing I love about this community is just how supportive everyone seems to be. No one's given me grief about not podcasting. I've had a few people reach out to see if we're okay, and we are, thank you. As I said, I'll come to all the life stuff in a bit. So if you don't know me, my name's Gemma. I've said that at the top of the episode, but I'm the dye designer tutor behind the Midnight Dyery, formerly the Project Bag. And I also, for a day job, run a local yarn store called the Yarn Dispensary, and that is in Faversham in Kent. And this podcast is where I talk about things that I make on personal levels, like sometimes with the Midnight Dyery yarn, sometimes my own designs, and events that I've got coming up. It's just a crafty chat, really, like a lot of video podcasts are. Yeah, so there's that. And Tales from the Midnight Diaries, because I was sharing what I'm up to at the Midnight Dyery, so you get a bit behind the scenes stuff there as well. Okay, I'm going to start with a little bit of admin at the top of the episode. I have not spoken to Karen in a long time. We've just both been really busy. She's the Knitting and Labradors podcast, and we were doing a mini make along, and I fell so hard off that wagon. It finished in May. I've got no idea if anyone entered. I've got no idea what we're doing for prizes. I basically have been the world's worst podcaster. So if there's a category for that in some sort of awards, like a raspberry or something, what would the equivalent of raspberry be in knitting and crochet? Tangles, I don't know. Anyway, that's my gong, guys. I'm the world's worst podcaster. So I've got no idea what's going on with that. The other make along, I've got two, I think. The other one, the main one is, excuse me, I'm gonna cough. The main one is the Crack Those Whips cowl, which I brought back, and that kicked off on the 1st of June, so that's been going for just over a month now. Lots of whips are being cracked, which is exciting. If you've not taken part in that before, it's super cash. It's just this time of year I start to get a bit antsy about things I want to make for the gifting season. and I become very aware of what I've still got on my needles that I want to finish before I get to that stage. So I try, officially, don't always succeed, to get the whips cracked. This year it's even more casual than ever. There are no prizes because I had such a headache with the Great Winter Cast on. I still have had people who just haven't reached out for their prizes. And I think because I did it on Instagram, I think what some people do is they just search the hashtag giveaway and they start using the hashtags without actually engaging with the podcast or the community or anything like that. So I just said enough's enough. I've got some posts going out next week. I'm going to post the prizes to the people that did get in touch with me, and the ones that didn't, I am probably just going to gift them to friends. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. So anyway, no prizes. Bending the rules a la Starry Eyes Ali with her Strictly Sock Along is heartily encouraged. Quite a few new cast-ons have been classed as whips cracked because, as Sharon from SCR1TNO podcast, no, it's the Knitting Project podcast, she has simplified it. Although I quite like the SCR1TNO, she said, is a whip in waiting, basically. A planned cast-on is a whip in waiting, so therefore it's a whip. Right, the other one is the Fancy Schmancy Crochet Blanket Mel. That is running for a whole year. I'm hosting it with Maddie of House of Langford podcast and Sophie of the Spring Snowflake podcast. They are doing a much better job about talking about this than me. We've got a couple of finishes. Erin's blanket is just stunning. I'll flash a picture up if I can find one and if I've got time to edit. So that's that for admin. And then let's move on to talking about creative stuff, shall we? It has been a hot minute since we've sat down and chatted, so I'm sure you guys have made loads of interesting things. I would love to hear what you've been making, so do comment below. I've got no idea what I last showed you, so I'm just going to whip through some things that I've got near me and we'll take it from there. I'm also not checking the camera angle, so if I've cut the top of my head off, which is possible, we're just going to run with it because, you know, in my last proper podcast, it actually went down the best of possibly any of my podcasts, the Hot Mess Express one, and here I am with barely any voice, puffy eyes. I have washed my hair and I'm definitely in my comfy it's the weekend and I've got a sun clothes. I'm just going to tilt that up slightly because I do think I might have cut the top of my head off. Hang on, let's have a look. Oh, hello. That was a bit of an interlude. Not that you'd necessarily know that, but I've just spent the last 20 minutes trying to call locksmiths. More on that later. So I've got no idea where I was. I think I'm just going to whiz through some of the things I've been up to and making while I've been off. To be honest, not a lot of making has actually happened. I went back to work on the 1st of April, and you'll notice there's been no podcast since I think the 10th of April was my East Anglia vlog. That was the last thing I managed to do. And again, I'll talk about all this at the end, and I keep saying that a lot. I'm going to get to the creative stuff and then do all the talking at the end if you're interested in that sort of thing. You might not be, you might have already switched off. But yeah, making time, making energy has been through the floor. My little boy has been ill. I've been working all the hours God sends. It's been an adjustment. However, some making has been happening. So, my Slipstravaganza hasn't changed. I'm not going to get that out and show you. I think last time I tried to record a podcast, I think I talked about this one. Hang on, it's Slipstravaganza. Let's move that out of the way. I need to move that out of the way in order to get to what I need, which is in here. Right, so this is a Colour Lab Kids pattern from West Yorkshire Spinners, and I'm working it in Colour Lab DK. So it's self-striping, and then I want to call it Tin Man, but it's not Tin Man because that's the Bo Peep colourway. Prism Brights, and not entirely sure. I'll try and find out. And I'm doing it as a hoodie for one of my honorary nephews. It was going to have a rainbow hood as well, and trims, but he's asked for it to just be grey. So now I've just got swathes of stocking stitch. Now actually I started that at Easter. They came to visit after Easter weekend, and I did all of this basically in the few days before he arrived for a visit, because I wanted to have something to show him, and I haven't really had a chance to touch it since. But I got the book so I could show you. Let's have a look. No, I don't even have the book to hand. Isn't that ridiculous? So how I thought I was going to be able to work on this, I just don't know. Let's see where I find my old bank card right now, which disappeared off the face of the earth a while ago. No, okay. So that's that. I'm doing the 9 to 11 size, because although he's only 7, he's quite tall. So yeah, I'm almost at the armhole shaping for that one. I haven't worked with the Colour Lab DK before, but I really like it. It knits up really beautifully. It's got good stitch definition. Stocking stitch, there's nowhere to hide, or if you're in the US, you call it stocking out, where you knit one side, pile the other, because it's so flat. But I like this because it's really neat. I'm a fairly neat knitter anyway, but you want to work with a yarn that enhances that. So that's that. Okay, Robin was helping me with this morning, so it's a bit tangled, but this is the second sock of the pair that I was doing for my dad quite some time ago. So this one has been hung in the window of the shop for a couple of months, so I didn't bother casting on the second one. And then this one looks shorter than that one, but I suppose it's not been on a blocker. So I did cast this one on a couple of weeks ago, and we ended up in A&E in Devon with Robin overnight. We arrived at 11:30. We weren't seen till 6:30 the next morning. So I basically did all of that. I didn't knit constantly. I think I probably could have got a lot more of the sock done if I had just knitted constantly, but I was so tired. I kept sort of taking breaks and... Excuse me. Robin just slept in his car seat the whole time. You know, he was fine, but yeah, we were sat on uncomfortable chairs, and I knit quite a lot of the sock. So that's that. Other sock news. I finished quite some time ago the first sock for Jules, which was meant to be ready for her birthday, which was last week. And I have cast on and started the second sock. I think I'm 2/3 of the way down the leg. Yeah, I'm not far off doing the heel flap, so I just need to get a wriggle on and get that done basically. Now this is in, what was it called? Trance. No, it's 80s Tree Lights. It's completely different to Trance, which is a colourway from Verity of Truly Hook too. It's a very dear friend of mine and a fantastic dyer. Oh, I should have said this is a Winwick Mum colourway from West Yorkshire Spinners. And it's got some sparkle, and I just love it. So that's that. I've been looking for those 2 bags for the dog. Right, what else have I been working on? So I decided to do the 9 to 12 month size of this next project because I'm quite slow at the minute. I don't have much knitting time, and in the evenings, if I did have knitting time, I'm basically just sitting and sleeping. I'm exhausted all the time. So this is a sleeve of the Chime Baby Cardigan by Martin Story, who designs a lot for Rowan. Works very closely with them. Have I got a front as well? Oh, there we go, a sleeve and a front. Yeah, and the sleeve is, I've done the sleeve wrong. I misread the instructions. You can see the sleeve is a good 6 rows longer than the front, so I need to frog this sleeve, but you get the idea. So it's got little stripy sleeves, stripy front and back, and then a kind of bigger yoke in one colour. It's really very sweet. That one I am using, I don't know if I've got a ball band handy. Oh yeah, there we go. Rowan Summerlight DK, which is a cotton. It's not mercerized, but it is incredibly soft. I don't really like working in cotton because I find it quite hard on the hands. This one I'm really enjoying. It's quite economical as well. I mean, Rowan Rowan is one of the more expensive, I think, of the commercial brands. But this was £4.95. Pretty sure it's £4.95 per 50-gram ball, and you get 130 meters. So that's quite a lot. It's a generous DK. And I'm using 2 colours. I think this is taking 4 balls. So for 20 quid, I've got a really nice jacket / cardigan for Robin. I really like it. So I think that's going to be absolutely fine. I just need to hurry up because he's 8 months old and I've done the 9 to 12 month size. But I'm on the second sleeve, which is on the needles at the moment. I'm just shaping the raglan of the second sleeve. You can tell I'm not very well because my gauge has gone shoddy. But what I'd done wrong is I'd misread one of the instructions, because it said work 6 rows in colour B and then only working in colour A, finish the sleeve at the same time, decrease it. So what I did was I worked the 6 rows in colour B first and then started doing the decreases. Actually, that's wrong. What the designer meant was knit, do the decreases, but when you're doing the decreases, the next 6 rows need to be in colour B and then the rest need to be in colour A. And I realised last night, ironically, I realised when I was very tired and not feeling very well, but I'd done something wrong. So yeah. The other thing I've got on my needles at the moment, and I don't know where the original one is to show you because this is terrible, it's all tangled, is a design. I can't show it to you, that's ridiculous. I'll see if I can find some pictures of the one I was working on, because I don't have that handy. But it's in something called Exquisite from West Yorkshire Spinners. It's very similar in makeup to the Scrumptious yarn from Fibre Spades, but it is less likely to pill and it is slightly cheaper. I say that, they've just had to put their prices up. Everyone's putting their prices up at the minute because everything's got more expensive. So if ever there was a time for me to stop producing a luxury item, now was it. But yeah, so more on that later. So this was a commission. I have a lovely lady come in whose daughter is expecting their first child. So it's this lady's first grandchild. And one of the things I love about working in a yarn shop is that you get to be a part of all these special moments in people's lives. It's really quite an honour and a privilege when people ask you to be a part of that moment. There we go, that's a bit better. So she fell in love with a really beautiful blanket, well, it's like a shawl, in a Rowan book. But she didn't want to do it triangly, she wanted just a basic rectangle, and it had like a diamond eyelet lace pattern. It's a really, it's not, it's a basic pattern that you'll find in any stitch dictionary. So what I did was not naughty. So what I did was I took some yarn, I've swatched in this, or I started swatching in this, but I also swatched in the Marley yarn, which is a single flock yarn that we stock, and it's pure Wensleydale. It's just gorgeous, and it just knits up beautifully. So I swatched in that to work out, and I worked out a similar design, a lace design, that did triangles, and worked out how much she'd need for her dimensions. And so I mean, it was basically a pattern writing service. Only charged a nominal fee, but to be honest, as I said, it's a really basic lace pattern you can find in any stitch dictionary, and it's a swatch, so it didn't take me very long. I think if I was to do patterns on commission in future, it's got to be on a case-by-case basis. Like, you know, if I'm designing a sweater, that'd be a different kettle of fish altogether. But so yeah, I really like the pattern, and I really like working in this yarn. It's a high twist, which is nice. It looks quite muted here, but it does have a bit of a sheen. It's a little bit luxury. And I'm going to finish this swatch and turn it into a scarf, and have it as a pattern for the shop. At the moment, because I didn't have enough stitch holders, is sharing a stitch holder with the back of my Chime baby cardigan, which is why it's all got a bit chaotic. So yeah, what else have I been working on? I've been doing a crocheted granny square blanket for my friend Mina's baby, who is now here. She's called Nova. She's gorgeous. I was meant to meet her on Thursday and have cuddles, which would have been so exciting, but lurgy. So obviously I've stayed away. So I'm looking forward to meeting her, hopefully next week if I'm completely better. So that's that. So anything else I'm working on? My Rosa cardigan that I was hacking to work as a worsted has basically just been left. I've got a tank top that I'm doing for the shop. I've got a target of getting this finished this weekend at some point. This looks tiny, but I have specifically chosen to do the smallest size. Normally for my samples I do, it goes that way around. Normally for my samples I do at least a 42-inch bust, if not larger, because it's important to have representation for people to see themselves in a garment, and I think 42 is the average. Sorry, I'm losing my breath. 42 is sort of the average. It's 14 to 16. I think to be fair, actually, I think 45 is the average bust size in the UK, if you think dress size 16 is. But I don't think it hurts to have a range of samples, and so for this time I've done the smallest, which I think is a 28-inch bust. Oh, to be that tiny, just because I think it'd be more comfortable. Just so heavy. Anyway, so yeah, there's the back, and I started the front, but I had a bit of a disaster and it all leapt off my needles, and so I'm using Rowan Big Wool, and the book I'm working from is again by Martin Story. It's a bit of a Martin Story appreciation, this one, and it's this that I'm doing, the cropped version of the tank top. It's called Zap. There we go. You've got a long version and a short version. I like this because the patterns are mostly unisex, and you know, they're fairly size inclusive, and it's quite, I mean, this top takes 3 balls apparently. I've got 3 to do the sampling. I don't know if I'll need to use all of them. I did swatch, I think, or did I not swatch? I can't remember. I'm getting much better at swatching, especially for shop samples. I'm very naughty. I'm a committed swatch dodger, as my friend Tabitha just despairs of me. But yeah, so that's it creatively. There's not been a lot going on. Oh, the crocheted blanket, I didn't actually talk to you about it. I haven't got it to hand. It's in the boot of my car and I cannot be bothered to go and get it. Sorry, my car's parked down the road. But what I'm doing is 1 round of Tin Man, which is the grey from the Bo Peep DK. I like the Bo Peep DK because it's really soft, but it's also machine washable, as it's like 52% natural fibre and 48% nylon. So not acrylic nylon. I mean, nylon's not necessarily much better, but it washes up beautifully as well. So I'm doing kind of a rainbow. So I'm doing 1 round of Tin Man and 2 rounds of a colour. But I've only got 6 colours for my rainbow. So I've got red, which is, I believe I'm using Fire Engine Red. I don't know why I didn't use Ladybird, because the Fire Engine Red is much bolder than any of the other colours I'm using. I'm using Pumpkin, Buttercup, Apple, Sparkle and Raindrop are the other colourways I'm using. And it's got me thinking about colour recipes and things like that, which is exciting. Okay, I should talk about my project bag. So this is a new project bag called the Yarn Dispensary project bag, obviously, and these were made for us. They are bespoke, and I just absolutely love them. I think they're gorgeous. Yeah. So shall I talk a bit about life stuff and what's happening with the Midnight Diary? So if you already follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you'll know this already, but basically I'm temporarily closing the Midnight Diary. The reason essentially is that I haven't got time to do it. I run a yarn shop, as I said before. I'm the manager. It's not my shop. I run it for the owners who I love working for and with. And we have a very similar ethos, what we would want from a shop, you know, high quality, accessible, warm welcome, all that sort of thing. We just are on the same page, which is wonderful. So I've been running it for them for the last 3 years. But when I was coming back from maternity leave, we had a chat, and actually they wanted me to become the business manager. So rather than just doing the day-to-day running of the shop and manning the shop floor, actually I'm taking on more of the behind the scenes stuff, so the planning and the budgeting and all that sort of thing, which they've always kept a tight rein on. Before, I say tight rein, they're not miserly, it's just, it's a business and I was new to the business, so it's important to run it carefully, especially in the trying times that we've had. So that means more responsibility. Now originally my hours were going to be reduced, so same hours but on 3 days in the shop, 1 day at home, so that I could actually, 2 days in the shop, 1 day at home, 3 days in the shop, 1 day at home, 4 days, 3 days in the shop, 1 day at home. So I was going to be working 4 days a week, which allowed me plenty of time for my little boy, would allow me time to do the Midnight Dyery, to do other things other than work. But one of my staff members left just before I came back, and it's been a bit of a tough winter, so I've actually found myself working a lot more. And I was thinking about this, and I was feeling a little bit stressed, because I would get home from work and I'd be trying to get the baby to bed, and I'd be thinking all the time about all the other things I had to do. And it hit me that I started the Midnight Dyery, well, I started the project mode, but I started the Midnight Dyery with the aim of being able to set my own work hours, to bring up my children, and have that flexibility. And weirdly enough, although I'm working for someone else, the yarn dispensary actually allows me to do that. So I don't need to do it. And actually what I don't want to do is when I get home from a long day of work, hello Magnus, hello, you come back from your walk. When I get back from a long day at work, I want to be enjoying that time with my son and my husband and my dog. I don't want to be stressing and rushing to get him to bed and hustling, basically. I love dyeing yarn. I will come back to it, and the Midnight Dyery isn't closing permanently. It's my baby, I'm proud of it, I've worked hard on it, I love the community we've built up here. But right now, there's not the room for it. The danger, it's a trying time in the economy at the moment, as I know you all know, you don't need me to tell you that. And local yarn shops are dropping like flies. There are so many that haven't survived the pandemic, and we have, but we're straight into another crisis with the cost of living and things. So, and this is my day job. It gives me my salary. I'm able to take my baby to work with me, which is wonderful. I need to focus on that. And there are more challenges ahead for that. Whereas the dyeing I can come back to. So what's going to happen? Originally I thought, well, I'll just wholesale with the yarn dispensary and just not worry about shop updates. But as I've been back at work for a couple of months now, it's more clear to me than ever there just isn't the room for that. Not for me to run the business how I want in both businesses, and customer service matters to me and all those things, and I just can't keep the plate spinning. So what's going to happen is I've got a couple of collaborations that I need to see out. So I'm thrilled to be part of the Giddy Yarns Presents charity collaboration advent boxes. I don't know which box I'm in. It's all very much mix and match depending on what colours work well with each other when the dyers come in. So I'm one of many talented dyers. Oh, it made me sound like I'm talented. I'm along with lots of talented dyers in that advent box. I believe they've sold out already. They went live on the 1st of July. I'm terrible at promoting it, but whoops. So I've got that. I've also got my book boxes, great yarn boxes that I'm going to see out for the year. So I'm dyeing the second one at the moment. I'm a little bit behind because of work. See, this is why I can't do the Midnight Dyery. There isn't time for me to do it to the standard I want to do. But I'm very fortunate that my customers who've ordered the book boxes are wonderfully understanding, and are good friends as well as clients. So thank you. So that's happening. And then my advent calendars I'm going to obviously dye those up, get those out, and I have recently been persuaded that I want to do a Christmas Eve box. I haven't launched that yet because I'm just not sure. But that will then be it. So there's going to be no shop updates apart from I'm going to photograph the stock that I still got in stock, and I'll be offering that up on my website for one weekend only, and then the whole lot's going to come down. It won't be discounted. I'm not having a closing sale or anything. It's just if you want it, it's there at the price it was. If you don't want it, then fair enough, I'll find something else to do with it. So those will be on offer on my website for one weekend only. I think, to be honest, it will probably end up being August, but I will keep you updated here. And then what I'll do is for the Great Yarn boxes is I'll do it via email, and I'll invoice people for those. The Advent boxes are being invoiced for anyway. Christmas Eve boxes, I'm not sure how I'll launch those, but everything's going to be shut down basically. And I will keep podcasting, keep designing. I kind of sat on the decision for a while and made it around May time, I think. And I sat on it for a bit to see how it felt. And I just felt great. I just felt relief. I mean, there's lots that I'm sad about. I'm going to miss the dyeing because I just love it. It's my happy place. I did a custom dye for Mina, the knitting expat. And it was the happiest I've been in ages. And I know that sounds bizarre considering I've got my little boy, but I was suffering really badly from postnatal depression. And just to feel that joy again in an activity was wonderful. I'm going to miss the opportunity to vend at various festivals. I was hoping to apply for East Anglia Yarn Festival next year, and Perth Festival of Yarn next year, and there are some others like the Southern Wool Show is taken over from February East. I wanted to go and see it this year, but I can't because I've got no staff at the shop, so I'm working all weekend. But that's fine because some of the Midnight Makers are coming down. They're doing like a road trip and Airbnb at the shop that I run. Magnus, please don't lick the tambourine. Things you don't think you're going to say. So that is going to be awesome. But yeah, so the shows I'm going to be a bit sad about, but overall I know this is the right decision for me. And actually, since I've made that decision, my creativity's come back. I've been working on some designs. I know people are waiting to test the baby vest. So I'm working on that. And I'm knitting, but a lot of the time, to be honest, when I get home from work, I spend time with my little boy and then I just want to go to bed. I'm so knackered. I can't even bother to pick up my needles. And that's just where I am at the moment, and that's okay, you know. I'm doing a lot. Running a business, raising a kid, married, you know, got a home to run. I'm very lucky in that I run it with my husband. It's not like, you know, housework is Gemma's job. It's very much a team effort. You know, so yeah, I just, you know, and my days off from work, I've actually started doing really nice things. I've started making sure, because I'm working more than I had hoped. I'm working in the store, I think 5 days a week. And I'm doing work around that as well to fit in the admin. We're on summer hours because obviously being the summer season, our takings aren't as high as the winter. So I've cut the staff hours down, had to. It's just seasonal, I guess. So I'm actually doing admin at home, and so on my days off I'm making sure we're doing things. So we went to a place called Bubba and Me in Tunbridge Wells a couple of Tuesdays ago to do their baby sensory class. I had a random Tuesday off and that was brilliant. So I'm now actually going to swap my shifts so I get every other Tuesday off, so I can do that once a fortnight with him. We're going visiting. I've been to see his godmother down in Essex a couple of times. We went to the zoo on Monday, which was just before, like, he wasn't particularly well. He was coming down with it, and I was all right that day. yeah, I really got sick on Wednesday. So yeah, that's where we're at, folks. The coffee mornings are continuing, the sip and stitch is continuing. I had been going to do it by subscription to help out with the funding of Zoom. What actually I think I'm going to do is I've had an offer from Laura of Athis Yarns to use her Zoom for the community instead, because she's got it as well. And I think I'm going to take Laura up on that. And hopefully we'll be able to keep it free for everybody. So yeah, so huge thank you to Laura. Plans for the immediate future. So we're in the middle of July, and I'm going to steal this from Helen of Giddy Yarns and do some goals. I'm going to finish this cardigan. I'm going to finish this tank top, and I'm going to finish the crochet blanket by the end of July. All of that by the end of July. And I'm hoping to record a podcast again before then, but if I don't get a chance, then maybe I'll see you in August, and hopefully I'll have finished those things. Do let me know what you've been working on. I've missed talking with you so much. And yeah, do go and follow the Yarn Dispensary. There is going to be a Yarn Dispensary podcast again. I started it with my colleagues a couple of years ago now, almost, I think. It was October 2020, we did our first one. Obviously I had quite a long hiatus while I was on maternity leave, but I'll be bringing that back as well. So if you want to follow the adventures at the Yarn Dispensary, then go and check them out on YouTube as well. There are a few back episodes, and obviously we'll be bringing it back soon. Alright Munchkins, much love to you all. Hope you're staying safe and well, enjoying the summer if you've got some sunshine, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.